Ladies and gentlemen, just got back from Washington, D.C. Ladies and gentlemen, I think they got something they want to say. I think they got something they want to say. Ladies and gentlemen, I think they got something they want to say. Washington, D.C. I think they got something they want to say.
Welcome back to another episode. I'm your host, Kerstyn, the level-headed liberal.
Oh, we're getting close.
We're getting okay. Damn. Okay, we're getting closer, and I got my lovely co-host,
Maxine, the Democratic wildcard. Hey, everyone.
And I've got my esteemed co-host over here.
Hello. It's everybody's favorite conservative in New York, Christopher Wright.
All right, and we're the Politricks Podcast. Today's episode 22. We are making some waves. We're back. Today was one of those days. You know, getting this podcast done was a challenge. You know, if you listen to our intro song, it says they just got back from Washington D.C. Well, one of us actually just got back.
Yes, he did.
He literally just
rolled in.
He rolled in, right?
Suitcase
yeah, very
and
well said.
everything.
Suitcase and everything. Yeah, got dress clothes on and everything. Just got back from DC.
Yeah, he don't usually dress up for us, so that's why we were like, oh, something's up. And he'll tell us a little bit about that in a bit. So obviously, Politricks Podcast. If this is your first time listening, this is a political podcast, not like what you've listened to in the past. I'm sure nothing like this. We talk from the Black and Brown experience. We have different, you'll notice that we have a conservative on the show, and we have a liberal on the show, and we have a moderate on the show. And sometimes we agree, sometimes we don't. But the good thing about this is that we're having these conversations that we feel like people should be having, in a very positive way. Yeah. 2020 election is right around the corner. And we all need to do our due diligence and speak and learn and find out what's going on. And we can't say we don't care anymore. Like, we have to pay attention. It's obviously if you're if you're a citizen here, you should be concerned or interested. Whether you're concerned or you're interested, you got to be involved. So if you haven't heard any of these episodes, start from episode 1 and binge and and come back down to 22. Again, thanks to our other listeners from last week's episode for listening. Thank you so much for sharing and leaving comments. Please continue to share with your friends and family. Follow us on Politricks Podcast on Instagram, Twitter, Politricks Pod. Find us on YouTube. And if you're listening to us on YouTube, definitely hit subscribe, leave a comment. Hit like. We'll go back to videos at some point. It's just too hard to. It's just really, really hard when we're like, you've got 3 people that have 3 different lives. It's very, very hard, right?
That's not easy. Not easy.
Not easy, and there's just so many moving parts.
Bootstrap in life.
Okay, once you guys start, really investing in us, we'll make some changes. But right now we're just, baby stepping it.
The struggle's real.
Hello. Okay. So we're available on Apple, SoundCloud, iHeart, Anchor, Spotify. Listen to us everywhere. Just send us some feedback. We enjoy. A lot of you guys send us stuff on Instagram. Keep doing that. Keep sharing it, and hopefully we'll be charting at some point.
Yeah.
So guys, how was your week?
Let the man tell us what he just did.
Gosh, tell us what you did.
He has an exciting
Chris,
story.
tell us where you were.
Yeah, I was in Washington, D.C., our nation's capital, and I was there for an event called the Black Leadership Summit. It was hosted by Turning Point USA, and it was an amazing event. A lot of young Black conservatives were there. Quite a few people recognized me, which is interesting.
Oh, look at that.
I was like, hey, we know you. Oh my gosh. So it was cool though, man. But it had Isaiah Thomas. I'm thinking basketball.
The basketball? Oh.
Not basketball player.
Okay.
It's an actor.
Washington, isn't it?
Isaiah Washington. There we go.
I just know because he pisses a lot of people off.
Yeah, she knows.
Huh?
Where's he on?
I don't know. I just know that he's Black and he supports Trump, and that's all it takes.
Oh yeah, that's all it takes.
He's a Fox guy, or
he used to be an actor on.
He used to be an actor. He just supports him, and he's vocal about it.
The one that got fired for
you took a picture with him.
Yes, that's the one.
Yes.
Yeah, so him, there was, I got to meet my good podcaster I enjoy, John Miller. He's the White House briefer.
John
Miller, a young black guy. He does White House briefing for Trump. And also Deneen Borelli, another black woman who's a podcaster who got the boot as well. So, but she's got her own show now. She's doing her thing. But yeah, so it was definitely an amazing event. Got to meet some great people. Got to see the president speak in the White House. And,
really?
Oh my goodness. Yes, he did.
Like you got to go in?
Oh yeah, the East Room, the White House.
What did you guys have for lunch?
They had like all.
Did he say they're my African Americans? I had to. I'm sorry, Chris. I had to.
He did that.
I still had love for the man. Like, yeah, you're right. That right, Trump. You damn right. No, but no, he was cool. He had Candace Owens open up for him, and a couple other young black people open up and talk for him, and it was very good. And then he came up afterwards and just did what he does best. And guys, everybody pumped, and it was definitely an enjoyable experience. And I got back.
You didn't get to meet him yet, though.
Nah, I haven't got to shake the hand yet. I'm getting there. I'm working my way to the handshake.
Clearly.
Oh, he didn't take pictures with everybody.
I think with President Trump, I think he's a germaphobe. He's not big on.
Oh my God. He's a germaphobe. When you have Elizabeth Warren who spent 3 hours giving selfies to every single person, and Trump is
he really a germaphobe?
I heard. I haven't confirmed it for myself. Got the evidence myself, but I heard for a few people that he's a germaphobe. He's not big on shaking hands and hugging people and everything like that.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, good for you.
Yeah. Thank you. Okay,
I guess I'll go. So this used to be your tagline all the time, and now I get to say it. I'm the one who hears the news. I'm moving. Big news.
Big news.
I know that was always yours. I swear you moved 5 times this year. It felt like.
Oh, really?
No, but she's making a real
I'm making. Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to say where, but the point is, it's a big move.
Yes.
I'm going to have a completely new life. I'm extremely stressed out.
Oh.
Moving is very depressing. So that's what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I've been just moving.
Oh, yeah. Moving. Yeah, I have said that quite a few this time. Hopefully not for a long time.
It's not fun.
No.
Yeah. Anything else going on in your outside of the moving? Any other fun stuff happen?
Not really. Just being a mom and trucking along at work, and I don't know. I'll probably announce some stuff soon, but for now, that's my week.
The moving's busy. That's a lot of work.
Well,
my
week was pretty good. I don't really have anything that was. I think we went to a screening. We went to a screening, which we'll talk about that later in another episode, because we're gonna actually do an episode about it. We're gonna discuss that. What have I been doing? We're on. I have my artist is on tour, so we've been focused on that. What else is going on?
You never
share about
No, I was gonna say, do you ever want to shout them out or separate it?
No,
okay.
Everybody works.
Putting a little plug.
No, it's fine. Sometimes I do, but it's fine. It's separation of church and state. Come on.
I hear you.
Okay, but let's get into some topics, because we've got some stuff to talk about. Starting with, you know what? I was going to start with the main, the big word that's happening.
For the 20th time this year?
But no, this is official. But but I think
Russia was official too.
But I do think I think we should talk about the case with against the murder case. I'm sorry, the murder case. Amber Geyer. Do you follow this story? Did you hear what was going on?
I might have the details. I'm bad with names too.
The cop who killed the
do you want to give us a little bit of
yes.
what you know of what do you?
Okay. The story still to me is kind of weird. I don't really know the whole thing, but it's my understanding that she wasn't in, what's it called when they're not.
She was off duty.
Off duty, that's what it is, right? And she walked into his apartment and thought it was hers, and thought he was mugging her or something, and just shot him. And the man was just sitting there eating ice cream, completely unarmed, and didn't do anything. She just said it was a mistaken identity, a complete accident. But the thing is, I don't know. I've heard very weird elements of the story, in that they might have known each other, and that there was something else just weird going on with her. But the point is, she was a cop. this went to trial, and she not only got a sentence of 10 years, but there was a lot of weird stuff going on with the family, having a lot of sympathy for her, affection for her, the judge even hugging her, the brother hugging her, the father saying he forgives her. So it just became this huge case. Obviously got a lot of coverage because it freaked a lot of people, including myself, out.
Right.
So yeah.
And to add to what you were saying, because that's exactly what happened, you know. But I want to put this in context for people who might feel like, who might sympathize with her. Because, I mean, obviously we're Christians, and for those who are Christians or those who, you know, just have empathy for people, we should definitely say, wow, I hope, you know, it's sad that this woman made a mistake. But we also have to put ourselves in the position of the family that lost a son, a brother.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I have to say this is very, very... there's no words. It's disgraceful what happened. You know, the man is sitting, like she said, he was having a bowl of ice cream, watching his ESPN, and then basically an intruder walked into his house, and from the way he was shot, it was like he's taller than her, so the way he was shot, it was like he was almost like he stood up, but like was at a incline, like, you know, if you're gonna get up from your seat, you're not gonna get up straight away, like you're gonna get up and kind of like fold over. And that's how he got the bullets pierced his heart, because it went straight through, and then it went all the way through his artery, and it hit his back. It didn't go through the bullet. But long story short, and the way she shot twice, which was weird, you know, so she was really intentionally wanting to kill him. However, from what happened is she parked on the wrong side of her building than she usually does, and she felt like this is odd. Why is there a man in my house? I know that some people are very oblivious, and some people really don't pay attention. Like, I've met people like that. Like, I've known people that I've had roommates that just don't pay attention.
You look at one right here.
Yeah.
I walk down those people's apartments all the time. Like,
have you?
Really?
Have you?
Yeah.
See?
Like, just walking.
But how? Isn't it locked?
Everybody
locks the door, but I didn't actually walk.
Oh, you mean you attempted accidentally? Okay.
Yes.
So many things. I had a client that used to always leave his door unlocked or ajar, or
what?
and things. Yeah, he'd even have problems too, and it's just. But I mean, I can understand that aloofness, and apparently the company in the building, they were saying that the door, there was issues with the door. That's why it was easy for her to just walk in. You know what I mean? Because they have a fog that lets you in. So long story short, the topic today with this particular case, I wanted to get you guys' feedback on what you thought about the fact that the judge was so forgiving to her, and not just forgiving in the sense that she's a judge, she has to be impartial, right? But she brought her Bible, she gave her Bible to Miss Geyer, and she like gave her a scripture. She mentioned a scripture that she thought would make sense for her, something, sow a mustard seed, something like that. Some. Do you know that?
Sow a mustard seed. I know the saying,
but I don't know in what context. Exactly. Yeah, I don't understand what that means. But she said that she also hugged her, which was like, okay, that's a little extreme.
And then the court officer
that's
helped her hair out of her way, or something.
Kept brushing her hair, brushing her hair. Yeah. And then the brother of the deceased, asked to hug her and basically professed his forgiveness to her.
And the father too.
And so did the father. So where do we go from here? Because Chris, I know you're the conservative one. I'd like to hear what you think about this case, because I feel
she was a white woman, by the way.
Oh yeah,
so people feel that's kind of important.
So I want to know what you think, because it just doesn't make sense, and I need to hear I just need to hear different sides. Maybe.
Yeah, I understand. Personally, like when I heard it, first I was like, what the heck? Like, what's wrong with this chick? Is she crazy? But then as I heard more and more about it, and I kind of saw her reaction from this incident, there's a point where body language is important to read on somebody, because words, they're only in 20% of conversation, 80% is body language. she showed body language wise, from what I can look at, that she was pretty much like really sorry for what she did. Now, after she went to court and she brought a Bible scripture up, and the parents and the brother kind of they were all there. So I mean, it just feels like to me like they just chose, like to say in the Bible, to forgive. I mean, and sometimes forgiveness is very rough to look at.
But that's what one of the jurors said is too, when they were asked why did you give her such a short sentence, they said that they felt like she was really sorry for what she did. They
felt like she was very sorry. So I just want to know, in what case have you seen that forgiveness? Do you think that Botham, that's his name, Botham Jean, would have gotten that same forgiveness if he walked into... No, he's not. He's from... Oh, darn. I knew what it was. It's one of the Caribbeans. It's not. It's a English. West Indian. It's West Indian. I just can't remember.
It sounded like a French.
Saint Lucia.
Ah, okay.
So oh my gosh. So if this man came in and murdered the woman, right? Let's say it's the opposite way. Do you think that America would be so forgiving to him? It's a simple mistake. Now, mind you, she's sitting having her ice cream, getting ready to watch Sex and the City reruns, and she's comfortable, right? And some man comes in and shoots her because he thinks, oh my God, there's a weird woman in my house, I have to shoot her.
I don't think it's not just a black man thing.
I didn't say that. I didn't say anything about black, but I'm just saying, if a man came in and shot her, okay, we could say, even if it's not a black man, even if we say a white man did it, what would you say?
I say if it's I'm sorry, you didn't say black man, but I was just thinking him an example, like, I'm not trying to be specific here. I'm just saying, if it's a male, period, who shot a woman, he would get in trouble. There is no patting on the guy's head, back his short hair.
Because what? She's not a real threat to him?
Okay, I guess.
I mean, not to be too negative. I'm saying not. I mean, a woman could be a threat to a man. Don't get me wrong, but not a lot of times. I mean, an alpha male. I mean, if he's a police officer, more likely he wants to be an alpha male. Going to a house of innocent woman who's being there, more than likely, 90% of the time, man's going to be the advantage to the situation. So if he accidentally shoots her, it's like, bro, you couldn't defend yourself with your fist. You couldn't, like, why'd you have to shoot her? You could have, if you thought she was really robbing you and doing all this crazy stuff, just kick her butt.
Right.
And not kill her. But
so that's why. Okay, so fine. So you say, so what if it's a white man sitting in the having ice cream and watching ESPN, right? And then a black man comes in and is like, "Oh my God, what's this man doing in my house?" Boom. Now what?
I think he should be punished. I think they'll be.
Do you think he'll get 10 years?
No, not 10 years. No way.
What do you think he'll get?
If a white man shot a black man, or a black man shot a white man?
Black man.
Life.
40, 50 years at least.
Okay, and that's the conservative person speaking, okay?
But he recognized.
No, I know, and that's why I appreciate that. The one thing I appreciate about Chris is that he calls it like he sees it. He might have his own views on the political structure, but when it comes to these things, he kind of can see when people are blowing smoke. And this, to me, seems like, let's save the damsel in distress type thing. I feel like this woman looked like, remember like that story you told us about when you were... I guess you're working in DC and you were with a white woman and you guys were at, like, she was like your employee or something, like you worked with her.
Oh yes, Maryland.
And you felt the difference.
And
And
but the cops told her, why are you like, basically almost like, why are you hanging out with him type thing, right?
Pretty much.
And you're like, he's my boss. And he's like, and they're like, what?
They had to pull his book aside and like confirm this. Like, hold on, he's your boss. That guy, the black guy.
This guy over there.
The tall black guy right there?
Yes, he is. Anybody else?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely.
So, I mean, I just don't know. I mean, I feel like this story, and then the story gets even weirder. Like, one of the witnesses, the witnesses got killed week around the building. So I'm like, what is going on? Can someone explain to me what really happened in this story?
It's so bizarre.
I don't feel like this story is as cut and dry as we think. It's just so much stuff.
I don't think so either. I really don't. But I think for me, like, I mean, I think it's, I don't like talking about, I don't like acknowledging race. I hate the race card being the default. I always say that. I hate that. But in this case, I think it's very obvious that her, not only just her race, but also her gender helped her in court, obviously. But the thing is, even if this woman was really, really remorseful and apologetic for what she did, what frustrates me is that at the end of the day, it goes back to the fact that she was a police officer.
Okay.
And off duty or not, I think she should have been using her skills and proper training to address the situation right way.
Break that up?
So to me, it's not like everyone's even. It's clearly race is totally relevant. Okay, I get that, but I'm saying that's after the fact. After we're on trial, he's dead. Why did you feel he was a threat in the first place? Race is all relevant there. But my point is, before we even get to the point where race and gender and stereotypes mattered, why didn't this woman have the right training? She should have never been a police officer if she had to be so trigger happy so quick.
Yeah.
Why could, even if it was your own home and you thought that this man, what if he was a crazy mentally ill person? What if he was in there because he needed help for all you know, he was hiding from some situation? I know that's being dramatic, but the point is, she clearly didn't even assess the situation, even in her own home.
Right.
Still be a police officer in your own home.
But she had a long day.
Because that's still a civilian.
They said she was very tired.
Listen, then
she was busy sexting her
that's not
her company. No, her partner. But that's married.
To me, that's the problem.
Oh.
Yes,
oh,
it's like, let me tell you, it's the story that
weird.
keeps going. It's too much drama in this case. She was sexting. She's sleeping with her partner who's married. She was like and then she erased the text messages. Because, she didn't get arrested.
And there was a lot of things with this chick.
There was a lot. And then she had text messages of, like, in the past they were racially charged. I wouldn't call them racist. I wouldn't say that she was racist. Like, people were, like, trying to say, oh, she's racist. Not from those text messages. She said stuff, I mean, it was a little weird about Martin Luther King. He's dead. Like,
yeah.
It's like 2019 sarcasm of like how people talk
racial
now. People are very and white kids, black kids, everybody's like that. So I don't take that. The other thing to talk about what you were saying about her training, like she worked at like Applebee's before this. Like I'm trying to figure out,
and that's okay. I'm not judging. No, but I'm saying don't put them out there if they ain't ready. You need to get them equipped.
Exactly.
You need to get the academy doing better. If homegirl ain't ready for nothing at any time to pop off, even in her own house.
I agree.
But you have to say, because the reason why I said she was working at Applebee's is because I'm just trying to no, I'm not. I just want you guys to understand what we're working with here. A woman who really shouldn't have been a cop in the first place.
But the thing, actually, can we get to that point? Because a lot of times people become cops because everything else failed them.
Right.
Do you know a lot of people who,
I know so many people do that.
Especially here in the city. The test is coming up. Just and people sign off for the test.
Wow.
But that's not I don't want to put the perception out that you can't at any point in your life change your life or be, change your career. I'm just saying she clearly wasn't equipped or what, you have to be on point at all times. So don't be in law enforcement.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And this goes back to what I say very often about the police academy is, I think the biggest issue with the police academy is not race, it's not gender, it's color, it's training. Training sucks. I'm like, I could go be a cop right now. Let's go hop over a couple fences, shoot guns a couple times. Oh yeah, you're a cop now. So how is that?
Take like the easiest test in the world.
So where is the what's the solution? Like,
but then what about we neglect to mention she also, and everyone's saying how forgiveness and stuff, but what kind of cop that has a first aid kit in her pocket that she's supposed to use to like hold down the blood so that he doesn't like bleed out? She never did anything. She didn't even give him mouth CPR. She didn't do anything.
Yeah, I gotta look at all details.
She basically, this is the story. This is the case. She basically let this man die in front of her. She called the cops.
Maybe she was in shock. She's clearly still not trained. But that's what I'm saying. She just wasn't equipped. She wasn't equipped, and that's why
she said she needed her partner. She was like,
even make this.
No, that's what she calls her partner. Like, can you help me? Get over here. Can you come? I need you right now. Can you come over here?
Wow.
And said like, I need you to need you to come help me fix this. And it's like, girl, like. No.
Wow. Who was this girl?
She worked at Applebee's.
Jeez, man.
I'm sorry.
Wow.
I don't know. I just feel like this woman, like 10 years, like people are saying 10 years is not a long time. 10 years to me sounds like a lot of time. 10 years is a long time, period. Like, I think
when you killed somebody?
No. I'm just saying 10 years is still a long. It's still.
Yeah, but they don't ever do 10. That's why they know. No.
Okay.
She can probably come up for parole in what, 7?
Probably go see that same judge she saw earlier.
The one that's hugging her and sending her Bible.
Oh no, because they're coming after her.
Yep,
so homegirl got herself in trouble.
Yeah, because again, and
well, people were saying that they were defending the judge and also the court officer and saying that it's because they know her, like because she's a cop in the system. So it's like this sisterhood, brotherhood of the law enforcement.
They do.
So they're like they're saying
black judge.
Yeah, but they're saying like the judge is not hugging all criminals, and they're just trying to like they're one of their own, even the ones that make mistakes. Like they still kind of see them as like you're one of us.
That makes sense.
That's not my opinion. I'm just saying what other people are saying. Yeah.
I don't know. You guys leave a comment. Let us know what you think of this case, because this is one of those cases that
I felt like so many different parts of the justice system failed, but it started way in the beginning with equipping the police officers the right way. That's to me my opinion of the real issue here. And then obviously when that failed, everything else and racial inequalities and all that kind of stuff came into play.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, that's our 2 cents on this. We hope that like people, it's really about like we have to stop like we stereotype people so much. I think this is what started it. I mean, I can understand if someone's in my house, I'm gonna be like, whoa.
But this goes back to like she walked in the house and saw a black man and he's a threat. Like that was her initial. I don't know.
Yeah,
that's gonna take. Well, what are we? How many hundreds of years? And still ain't get rid of that.
It's so crazy to me. It's like, I'm not even a cop. It's so, if I walk in the house, that's the same situation happened to me. I'm like, first thing come out, my reaction, who the fuck? What are you doing? Like that kind of, just to get that reaction. If he's like, yo, this is my place. When we talking about this, then we'd be like, okay, we can figure out what's what. But if
you're a cop, you said, if you would do that?
Even right now, it's me not as a cop.
Okay, but if you're a cop and you have a gun in your hand, what are you doing there? That's the difference.
Yeah, I'm not going to pull a gun.
But that's the thing. Having a gun having the gun, I think, makes people trigger happy. The fact that you have that protection.
But you got to be trained with the gun. If you're trained with the gun properly, you're not going to just reach for it and
shoot. She should have just said, "Put your hands up. Put your hands up. I have a gun," and like ordered him around. Like, woman, do that first, girl.
Exactly.
Take a few other steps. You have the gun. Be in control.
But what she said, she did do that, and she claimed in the beginning when she was giving her testimony, she was saying he was coming at her. The famous line.
Really?
You
got a gun and dude got a bowl of ice cream.
Right.
Really?
Yeah. They all, I'm coming after you, girl, with my bowl of...
Like, he had problem is the only 2 in the room, and she's the only one alive.
Right.
Yeah. But unfortunately.
But this is the case that
we'll never know.
We'll never know. But even if he was coming at her, if a woman is coming with a gun, putting a gun at her, get out. He doesn't know if she's a killer, if there's a bunch of... He doesn't know what's about to happen. So for him, too, even if he was...
But then again, like, I mean, people say they're trained to shoot to kill,
like, or trained to shoot the mass.
Some people say like, how come police don't shoot, like, disable them, to shoot the leg, arm, like make them fall, do something so that they have more control. Like, why do you shoot to kill? Unless he had a gun, why did you not shoot his leg?
Because it's laziness. It's laziness. It's like, look, I'm not finna...
But we're not law enforcement, first of all. So I know someone's going to be listening and be like, you're not a cop, you don't know.
Right.
But I'm just... And it's true. It's true. I've never been there. I can imagine how scary it must be, but I'm not a cop.
Yeah, exactly. And if you see these people, these new drugs, like meth and crack and everything, to get shot, a bullet ain't going to stop them. You got to hit them with 3 or 4 of those bullets to slow them down a little bit. So, I mean, you're a cop and you've been doing that for 30 years, you're not going to be Mr. Friendly anymore.
Yeah. Okay, I guess.
And maybe after 20 years, switch around. Maybe you got to do desk duty.
So that's what they're training. That's what they got. Is that what you're saying?
It's
how they're being
part of training. It's still part of training. What you're saying.
I still think it's still part of training.
And they should. I don't know if they do this, but like they should do like 10-year anniversary of like, okay, let's see where you are, cop. You've done X amount of. This is what you've done. You've killed 4 people. You've done this. Okay,
that's crazy.
No, you don't think it should be like a mental evaluation to see like how you're doing? You don't think so? I think that would be so good.
No, because if they legitimately needed to kill those people, like to save others.
Well, I mean, I'm not saying if it's a bad or good thing. I'm just saying this is your report card basically for the last 10 years of your. Don't you do evaluations at your job?
Yeah, but that's kind of disturbing.
I personally think you should. That's the problem.
We don't know what they do. We need to get a police officer.
That's the problem. They won't come.
I know they won't.
We tried. They can't. That some can, but yeah, they have to ask their superiors if they can come. It's like a big thing to talk. No, I'm just saying. What I'm trying to say is it's just an evaluation. Just like in your job, you get an evaluation. Yeah. Okay, so
maybe exclude the death part of it. You just wait.
Why?
But what are we trying to accomplish?
Because I have to know what you've done for the 10 years.
That doesn't mean you.
If you've shot more people than you can't tell. Like,
there's dirty cops. You're never gonna know what they're doing by looking at an evaluation. I don't know. I just think they need to be trained. That's it. Train them better, have better resources, train them better. Then figure out and have a more have more strict requirements. Like, have more scrutiny when you onboard people. Yeah. Don't just let anybody and their mother be a cop.
No,
it seems like it's a lot of
graduates. Like, you come out of high school, hey, you want to be a cop?
It's a lot of sociopaths too. I'll be honest. It's starting to feel like there's a lot of sociopaths that have guns and are considered cops. Like the good cops of back in the day, I long for those guys. I haven't seen those guys a lot. I see every time
they're out there. It's just that you're not going to hear those stories.
That's true. I miss those cops that knew our names, that was friendly, that wasn't ready to like commit murders at the drop of a hat. Like I just miss the good people, that took the job for a reason, that was here to protect people and not ready to kill people and to go after. And I understand things are a lot more violent and people have drugs, there's a lot going on, but it's like this is the position you wanted to do. Just like I can't blame you for the job you're doing. You can't blame me for the job I chose. So, but
again, there's people who don't have a lot of options. So, I commend people, especially some black and brown people, who instead of being on the streets, coming out of high school, they chose, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
I'm not judging them. I'm just saying they need to be better equipped.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
And maybe I see that as our government's failure. Right.
Mm-hmm.
To be honest.
And that's why I say smaller government.
Hey guys, it's Maxine here with a special message for our listeners. I want to thank you for listening to Politricks Podcast and wanted to share an exciting offer to entrepreneurs and supporters. We are now offering businesses the opportunity to be advertised on our show during this mid-roll. If you're interested, please email hello@politrickspodcast.com. We are also taking support from our listeners through the Anchor app. Just click the Support This Podcast button and you can give whatever you want. The funding is helpful to increase our production so we can add video and start marketing and advertising for our podcast. We appreciate you and please continue to listen to the show.
And that's why I say smaller government.
Anyways,
how would that have helped?
Speaking of government, we have Nancy Pelosi.
Skeletor.
Yes, Skeletor.
Wait, what? Is that a nickname?
I don't know. He probably made it up. AKA she should have been the president. I don't know how we missed that, but
you can barely talk.
She's older and she's a bad ass woman. Come on. She was. Look, she did everything right. So, okay, so for those who've been under a rock, somehow you missed this big story. There's a impeachment that what's the actually correct saying?
Inquiry,
thank you. There's a impeachment inquiry, and according to a whistleblower, two now. Who
I heard a phone call? Ooh, which Trump released to everybody to see. By the way, if you want to watch it, you can go online and see the whole transcript.
Okay,
for those who want to see it.
Correct. So here's what's happening. Trump is becoming very loose with the mouth, right? He's always been. We know that. He's always been, right? But he's becoming a lot more freer. The day after, or the day before, the day he found out that Robert Mueller, like he was off, because Robert Mueller, which I'm still very disappointed in, spent 2 years of taxpayers' time, and then came to the conclusion
tens of millions of dollars,
right? And came to the conclusion that I can't do anything because he's a sitting president, so we can't do anything, Not to say that because Trump was the co-conspirator. He was was it untitled person that they had, the person that was on the
report?
In the report, in the Mueller report, but they couldn't do anything because he's a sitting president. So maybe
that's what they say. They couldn't do nothing because there's nothing there. There's a crime, like you lied to the American public about cheating on your wife, then
Yeah, and if you want to talk, let's focus on. Clinton cheated on his wife. We all know the story.
He lied to us about it.
He lied to us, and he apologized, and he impeached. He actually had a surplus after he left. He's probably one of the best presidents in our time for the country as a whole. He's one of the best, not the best. No, he's in our in the generation.
Trump's taking that title.
Oh, I don't think so.
Oh,
But anyway, sorry. It's just like, get to it. Okay, it's just like, I can't start. I don't know where to go. So
gotta give a little intro here.
Right. So basically, all right. So my question to you guys, right, is Trump, this impeachment inquiry that we have.
Well,
right?
I think you should give a little background.
Okay.
In case anyone doesn't know. Like, why did they all of a sudden have an inquiry?
So Trump is, the whistleblower claims he heard, and this is not the first time. But it's been several occasions that Trump said stuff like this, and Trump was basically heard. He was requesting Ukraine President Zelensky to basically do him a favor, and I quote, because that was the word he said. He understood that President Zelensky is in dire need of weapons that he was trying to get from America, and he needed aid to fight off the Russians who are taking over the eastern part of his country, and it's a dire need for him. And Trump says, "Okay, I get you, but let's talk about that in a second. I need you to do me a favor. Biden and his son, more so Hunter Biden, got a job in Ukraine, and they were being investigated. That company was being investigated, but they wanted to find out if there was some sort of corruption within that that company, and if Biden's have any kind of quid pro quo, if there's any kind of negativity that he did while he was in office." That's why he asked this president, "Can you look into this?" Now, what America and what everybody is saying is wrong is, as a sitting president, you can't say, "I'm not going to give you money until you do me a favor."
He didn't say that. You just said what he said. He didn't say that. You said what he said, and then you said, "Oh, he said this." I mean, he didn't say that.
Well, he implied, because
you can imply.
It's still an implication of
he suggested
you do me a favor though.
Investigate the Bidens.
And then, but why did he hold? But he still held off on paying.
Because first, Joe Biden lied to the American public, and he broke a law, and he told the American public he broke a law and was joking about it. And Trump's like, "Bro, you're out here joking about breaking a law with your son." $1.8 billion worth of a joke.
But what did he do? He said for that the guy to get fired, right? The Ukrainian person to get fired.
Attorney General.
He said he pretty much told the guy.
But wasn't all the country saying he's like a horrible person? He had to be fired. Like, this was something that was like
they were saying that Vice President Biden pressured or was trying to put some kind of pressure and influence the firing of the Attorney General that at the time was looking at the case over the company that you're talking about.
Right.
The 1.8 billion is China, I believe. It's separate. It's something separate. That's why Trump asked China to also investigate the Bidens.
And
because
Australia.
There was a private holding company or a private PE kind of company, and again, Trump is saying, how come Biden's son was able to get 1.8 billion in funding for this company that he worked for, backed by the Chinese government, yet nobody else can seem to get this kind of investment, especially at that amount. Mm-hmm. There must be something going on there. China go investigate it. So Trump asked both countries to investigate this Hunter Biden, basically.
But my question is,
so that isn't at all like, how do you feel about it?
Before we even get into that, my question is, as a Republican or a conservative, I should call you, because you don't consider yourself a Republican. How can you see what he's saying, even if he has a right to do it? Let's say that there's some corruption here. There's actual, you have like attorney generals, like you have people that can actually go and investigate that. You don't have to tell the president, stop him from getting what he's calling about, and say, we're going to hold off on that for a while. And then when they found he was pressured, he had to give the money. Then he finally gave it. That was already, he had to give that money regardless. He was holding off to, why did he do that? And then if this wasn't wrong, if he didn't make a mistake, right? If he did a perfect conversation, why was this conversation hidden from, like, it was like classified as, a conversation that would be ultra classified. Like, basically they were hiding it. The White House was hiding the conversation, So I just want to understand, how do you how can you make sense of this?
Because we had 3 years of a Russian hoax. That was all. None of it was true. Nothing was nothing. We did 3 years of attacking a president, didn't let him govern at all, come out, nothing. And now Trump's like, oh, you want something? Well, here's something. And now, impeach him. It's like, no, you guys have been crying for 3 years about a Russian hoax. Now we're giving you a real hoax, a real deal situation here, and you want to impeach him for telling the truth?
Right, but but the way I think also, here's another thing that I'm thinking also, and this is the only thing that I'll give Trump ever, is that he doesn't understand the White House. He doesn't understand the executive branch. But no, not thank goodness, because I don't agree. You can't say that.
If you actually follow that,
you know what's so funny, because Republicans will say that now, and then when a Democrat is in office, they want him to follow the law for every tooth and nail.
Let me get it right. Let me get it straight. It's not. If you're like the typical term of what a politician is nowadays, which is just to go out there and lie to the American public with a nice smile on your face with a suit on, that's what being a politician really is nowadays.
It's always been.
No, it hasn't. When the forefathers made this country and they wrote down the Constitution and they wrote all that good, the Bill of Rights, they put stuff that they used to free the slaves later on. It's even because they're mankind. Mankind's always going to be ignorant throughout the history of mankind. When there's no longer man, there's always be stupid people out there. But even if you're stupid people, you can still make decisions that can improve it for future generations. And that's what they did. They used the Abraham Lincolns of the world, the Frederick Douglasses of the world. They used what the Constitution said to free the slaves. So even though people back then weren't intelligent enough for every little thing, they were intelligent enough to know, let's sit and make a documentation that's going to help everybody in the future. Even right now, they're not getting helped. And they did that. That's why America is the greatest country in the world.
I sort of disagree with you. Trump has no idea how government. What I think about Trump is that he knows exactly what he's doing.
Okay.
And
maybe.
I don't think he's doing things and then after the fact, like it's like fire in the White House. Oh my God, did he just really say that? And he doesn't even realize the implications of what he said. I do not think that this man 3 years in is doing that.
Okay.
What I think Trump is doing, and I'm on to him. It's like, I call it the numbing effect. I think Trump he spits fire, says all these crazy things, and each time it's like, every time you hear something, you see something over and over and over again, isn't it? Like less and less and less and less of the sting, and it's almost like he knows. He's like, he knows the more off the wall stuff I say, the less and less it's going to be affecting America, and because it is. Honestly, I said this in a few of our episodes. He doesn't bother me as much as he used to. I'm noticing in the comments now when he says crazy stuff, and I'm talking about Shade Room, mostly black and brown people, they're laughing now. Trump's crazy. Trump's making me laugh. People are not pissed off like they used to be. I mean, granted, I know like he's coming real hard at the transgender community, so and undocumented. I'm not trying to say there's people out there that aren't suffering and feeling the pain of Trump's administration and his policies, but I'm saying overall, there's a numbing effect happening, and that man knows that he's gonna say what. I don't know what his alternative motive is, but I'm gonna give him a little bit more credit than I think you are giving him, and I think he's saying everything he's saying on purpose, and he knows that the public is gonna care less and less and less about what he says, and whatever his agenda is, Kerstyn, he's gonna do it. Watch. I
agree.
Because you know what?
That's a good point.
He's right. We listened to the Russia thing for 3 years. I'm a Democrat who's kind of pissed off. You want to do impeachment inquiry in the third year?
Yeah.
Like, what the hell? So I'm a little bit pissed off. We're tired of hearing about it. We don't have confidence in the Democratic Party that they're going to accomplish it. So it's in one ear and out the other. And Trump knows that. And that's why he's saying all this stuff. And he realizes that people don't care anymore. Not only did his base not care, but now Democrats are starting to not care. That's a problem.
That's a big
problem. To me, I know that I said this from the beginning. This man is guilty of a lot of things. I personally believe he's done a lot of sketchy things, but I feel like he bamboozled us back in 2016. And what we should have done is not disregard the Constitution, which someone will say, "What about the Constitution?" I know about the Constitution, but do you want to lose 2022? I feel like that's what we're gonna do if we spend all this time.
Yeah, but that's when I disagree with you, because I feel like you are saying that he gets total autonomy to do whatever he wants
for another year. What are they going to do? Spend a year?
But if he gets impeached, at least if he gets impeached, I'd rather these blemishes on his because it's about history. At the end of the day, Trump will not live forever.
But if they couldn't do the Russia thing, the man literally said, Russia, go look at Hillary's emails. The same way he's outwardly, publicly telling countries to do things for him, this is the same thing.
And people have to, and you have to understand, again, I hate
it's
saying
like
this.
He can get away with anything.
I hate saying this phrase, but if Obama did this, people would they would have had his head on a stick.
The media had Obama's back. Obama did a lot of grimy stuff behind closed doors. Fast and Furious, the gun smuggling. He did a lot of funny stuff.
But the
media just doesn't cover it.
No, but
I watched it.
Him personally,
yes. He's has people around as Attorney General. But
okay, so but I have to say, Obama's probably one of the most. I mean, out of a lot of presidents in the last 20 years we've had, from Clinton to Bush to he's been. I can't think of a more squeaky clean president. I really can't. I'm sorry. And honestly, you know what I was going to tell you? I meant to tell you this a long time ago. The other day, I thought about Obama, and I think you put a meme about Obama and you hate him or something. And I was just like, wow. I said to myself, I said, you know what? You know why white people have, okay. You know, in the South, the in the Carolinas where they were that Charlotte where there's good people on both sides, that whole conspiracy, right? You do remember why this whole thing, why they had this march and stuff, why he was saying, why he considered those people good, he claims were because they were trying to keep their statues. They felt like their statues were I mean, that's the thing where you go with statues. You go around destroying statues, there's going to be somebody pissed off. Right. So but what I was realizing is white people have they'll go down in the blaze for their heroes, right? Mm-hmm. They have respect for their heroes. Even musicians, that's why you can have musicians like Queen. I went to go see Queen perform last week at the Global Citizens, which was an amazing show. And Queen was amazing. Obviously the lead singer, he's passed. But you see the band, the drummer is maybe 70 years old. He's white hair, but he's drumming, shredding it. And I said to myself, what black artists would have that respect where all these people would come out and see them?
Stevie Wonder.
Maybe if that, but young and old, maybe not more, maybe an older crowd. What I'm saying is, I feel like we have a problem with respecting one thing we have to know. Like it or not, his policies, Obama, and I'm going to bring it back to why I thought of you. Obama was the first black president. There's 45 presidents. People, if you're listening, most of you listening will never be president. Mm-hmm. Sorry. Probably all of you. Mm-hmm. 45 people have been presidents of the United States. He happened to be one of them. Why can't we just respect him? We can dislike, he didn't do this, he didn't do that, fine. But let's respect this man for what he's accomplished for our people. Especially when I see black people talk bad about him. He didn't do anything. He didn't win. Well, did you vote for him in the midterm elections 2010? Were you even involved past voting for him in 2008 and 2012?
Bush.
Right, no, I know, but
my thing is, if you're a bad president, you're a bad president.
I get it.
Black, orange, green,
but it's
yellow.
A different type of respect that people have for their. I don't know if I'm making my case. I don't know if I'm making my case, but I do feel like we do a bad job of respecting our granted, there's everybody's human. Cosby went down. If Martin Luther King was Michael, everybody goes down, right? Unfortunately, in the blaze, in the climate, pick them up. No, pick them up and drop them. That's always been America. They pick you all the way up and then they drop you, and then they love the comeback story. So my thing is just for us, it's like he's the only black president we've ever have. We might ever have. We might ever see us. We might never see anybody else. He made it to that level. Give that man respect, period. Hey, saying stuff like we should be, if we're mad, we should be only having our stuff in our homes, talking about I'm so mad at what he did, da 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 da. But to the public, we should respect that man. He did it for us. He did it for us.
Did he do it for us?
Yeah.
Because when he got in there, he helped the LGBTQ, he helped out illegal immigrants, he helped out the radical Islam.
You're right.
He helped out
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. But
Trump is helping black people out of America more now than
you're absolutely
Obama
right.
did.
in his own way, with the Brother's Keeper, with my Brother's Keeper, with his supporting of HBCUs, with the insurance, the healthcare. He tried, but you have to understand
the economy, the amount of black people.
But forget that, they blocked that man every freaking. You don't understand. There was actually, I have to send you this. There was this man who's running for office now, for presidency. He was saying, oh shoot, now I can't remember his name. He's a billionaire. He was basically saying that he was in the South doing business with like this person in the South, and it was like in Dallas or something, and it was like an oil thing. He's like, hey, I've got a way that's going to make you millions of dollars. Why don't we do such and such, and then it can help the economy? And he says, is this going to help the president? And he says, well, I mean, yeah, because he's in office, but we're going to do this. And he's like, is it going to help him or not? He said, well, look, it's going to make you millions of dollars. He's like, I don't want to do it. If it's going to help that man, I don't want to do it. You know how many racist people live in America? You know how much they claim, Republicans said it. From the moment he stepped foot in the Oval Office, they said, I'm never going to support him, and I'm going to make sure he loses everything he does. So you think he as a black man could say, let me go and say and do this and do that for black? He couldn't. They wouldn't allow him to.
Because he's a Democrat.
Okay, if that's what you see. But the point of what I'm trying to say is for you to reconsider how you. I'm just
Tim
asking
Scott,
you.
the Republican congressman, and he became president, Republicans would have his back. White, black, every Republican out there that supports Republican Party.
Who are you talking about?
I mean, Tim Scott. He's a congressman right now. Yeah.
But I'm just saying. I'm trying to have you reconsider the way you speak about him publicly.
I
because
know.
I feel like I feel like one thing. The man.
Saying.
Oh, he's stupid. He's this. I'm like, the guy went to Harvard. He's a brilliant person. Columbia. There's certain things that we can't take away from this person. His legacy in 20, 30, 40 years, I think it'll fare very well. Mm-hmm. I think he like you just said, the economy was he literally had to lift it up. I mean, it was happening when he got in, but he was a part of it. You know, he came in when everybody had nothing, and from the moment he got in, people started coming up to the point where now this president is feeling that kick. Let's give this man respect just off of that alone. Mm-hmm. I understand he didn't do enough for blacks. I understand he didn't do enough for Spanish people. I understand there was so much more. He was tough on immigration. Like, you know, the DACA program, people are upset about DACA program because it didn't give these people, it gave them a way to work and help the economy, but it didn't give them a way to become citizens. Mm-hmm. So there's always something that we can say. Yep. But this person worked his butt off and is our only representative out of 45 in 300 years. Like, mm-hmm. you can say what you want, but you'll never be there. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So respect it. Yeah. Okay, guys, we're gonna end on this because unfortunately that was we went totally left. Today's been a crazy day, so I hope you enjoyed it.
At least he said he hears you.
Yeah,
that was nice.
I do.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Because I respected him during his commander in chief. I wanted to, but I didn't say nothing till he was technically out of office, mm-hmm. and then I started going after him. Yeah, but I can see I do know.
I'm just saying, if your memes, maybe his memes soften it up. Maybe you wouldn't, because like the stuff they did, like his wife, they would call her a monkey. What we do to our people is what they laugh at it. They find that funny. They're like, look, they're making fun. They're doing our job. Right. They don't. Right. They're so brainwashed. They hate themselves. Mm-hmm. It's just that's how we have to change. Mm-hmm. We've got to change it so that the next black man can actually do stuff for black people. That'll make it easier, where he can stand strong and he has his constituents to have his back. Mm-hmm. He can help us, because right now it's like we're against him. He has to play the game. He has to act like he can't even. He has to pretend he doesn't even like. It was just.
Now he's just living his best life.
Oh, I pray for him every day. I said I'm just happy
richest most expensive house in any president in American history he bought.
Yeah, again, if you're the president, you're not. Well, you guys have. The thing is, everybody's mad about, like, even with Biden. Biden's son had this job. I'm like, he's a Biden. Like, do you expect any less from like are you shocked that a vice president's son would have a good job, like that would make $1 million per year? Like, is that shocking to you?
Well, then in that case, we need to let both sides govern. When you win the presidency, people need to shut up and let them govern. Well, they didn't do that with Trump from even before he was.
But Trump is quacky. I mean, his kids are the ones are part of the. We didn't even know that he was going to bring his kids to be in the White House.
What do you think John Kennedy did with his brother?
No, I know, but we didn't. I mean, that was in the 60s. We're talking about in 2019.
It's better in the 60s than it is in 2000.
Well, I'm just saying we didn't vote them in. And John F. Kennedy, if I was there, if I was voting, I wasn't alive, so I can't really speak on
John
it.
F. Kennedy was a big reason civil rights got passed, and his brother was a bigger reason it got passed. And his brother was working with MLK, who was a Republican, to get all of it passed.
I agree.
That is true.
But they did do good things. But I'm just saying, you do know that the president's sons still run their corporations, the Trump enterprises.
They're not president.
Huh?
They're congressmen, not president.
Pardon?
They're not the president. They're congressmen. Like he's not. I mean, so they ain't congressmen. They're just they're under him. They're not.
No. But I'm talking about Eric and
He means his actual sons, not Jared.
yeah, yeah. I was talking about her. Yes,
The actual sons don't do anything. They're not even advisors, right?
but they run like it's almost like.
But what do they do in the government? Do they do anything?
They don't do anything in the government.
Oh, okay.
But it's still like so connected. Like, come on, guys. It's very connected. You know what I mean?
If you got good family members who are smart, intelligent, use them. I mean, instead of using politicians.
That's why I don't respect anybody that tells me they don't think that Trump is doing anything to help himself. Keep it 100 with me. We all know that man is using his self-interest. He has to be for his own family's gain and fortune. I know that man is doing it. And anybody that tries to act like he's in there and he's a good Samaritan and he's like Mother Teresa, it's not true.
No, I'd say he's like King Cyrus from back in the day. He's just somebody to me who believes in God, and God can use him to get things done.
He believes in God?
Wow.
You gotta find the God that he believes in. He feels like he's God. He doesn't, I don't think
you should see how many pastors he has around him. When he went to the White House twice a winter, he had pastors all over the place.
They always have.
I bet they are.
Not always. And Obama, he read the Quran. He didn't read the Bible too much. The only thing he talked about Christianity was the Crusades. But it's true though.
I should have ended it.
But if anybody should be talking about.
First of all, the Quran is not.
Wait, did you hear? Wait, look, did you hear when Trump was reciting from the Bible and he called it what did he say? What did he say? Seconds, or what did he say?
He said 2 Corinthians.
Yeah, he knows the Bible very well, Chris, right?
No, he believes. That's what he believes. You don't have to know the Bible to believe in God. You can get on your knees and start talking.
I honestly have. That's one person that I don't see him to be. He doesn't show very Christian.
He doesn't drink any alcohol, never did any drugs, never drank alcohol. The Bible says to be clean.
Yeah, but
he's clean and he believes God can use that.
You really think this is a righteous man?
No, I think he can be used to get things done. I think King Cyrus was righteous back in the Bible times, but God used him to fulfill prophecy.
But what about
he's not a prophet?
But what about the things that he's done in his like personal life with women and stuff? Like, how do you
his party?
Where do you put that in the religious?
Can we go to all?
How do you talk about? He has 3 wives. How do you talk about?
And he divorced all 3.
Right, but how do you
like?
I divorced 2 of them.
But isn't that against that? Right? You just said like, how does that like? I just want to know, how do evangelicals, like, how do people see this and say he's righteous, he's good man? Like, I can't, all these things, you can't say what it is.
You know the story about David? David, had a guys in a war killed so he could take his wife and marry her for himself.
Right.
And God still used him to fulfill prophecy. He had to deal with some rough.
So that's okay. So that's how you.
I do.
That's how you justify it. Then.
Yeah, I think he's just there to fulfill prophecy. And I go to every politician before Trump and go to their closets.
Fascinating.
Open the closet, skeleton's going to fall out.
I don't see how. I mean, Bush didn't have any war. I didn't see Bush with.
And Bush lied about weapons of mass destruction.
Right, but I'm just saying,
that's a skeleton.
But that was a religious person.
That's a skeleton, though. I'm not saying everybody has skeletons. I'm saying everybody sins.
Totally. No one's perfect. Nobody's perfect. We would never call anyone perfect.
And you compare Trump to previous. No, he's not a prophet. I'm saying he is
fulfilling prophecy.
Fulfilling prophecy is not being a prophet.
No, but I'm saying that
you don't think he's fulfilling his own self prophecy.
He's already fulfilled prophecy.
Do you not think he's selfish?
I just think he's a narcissistic artist.
But you don't see he's narcissistic or selfish. You don't see that.
I do see that. But King Cyrus was too. David was too.
I just think he's a con artist.
Yeah, David. Yeah.
I don't know. All right, we're ending it here, guys. Thank you so much for listening to us. If you like what you heard, please, subscribe, leave us a comment, send us an email if you want to suggest a topic for us to discuss next week. I'm Kerstyn D on Instagram.
Maxine.Outerbridge.
Chris Wright in New York, NY.
And we are out. Thank you.
Peace out.
Bye-bye.
Ladies and gentlemen, I think they got something they want to say. I think they got something they want to say.